Hello, good afternoon. It's a beautiful afternoon down here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Welcome to Vicky's show, Becoming Unstoppable. Today, I have a special guest called Mr. Charles Oguntade, who will be joining me shortly. We will be talking about an important topic, and this is all about mental health. Having a healthy mental health will help us achieve our goal of becoming unstoppable. You can't become unstoppable without having healthy mental health. So, Mr. Oguntade will be joining me shortly, and I'll let him tell us about himself and what made him qualified to talk about this important topic. In a short while, I'll bring Mr. Oguntade. But before I do, we have a couple of sponsors that I would like to appreciate today. And the first one is Capstone Medical Center. They've been a sponsor from the beginning, and they are a group of medical doctors providing important medical services to the people of their community. Join me to watch infomercial for Capstone Medical Center, Bensdale. All right, that's all about Capstone Medical Center, Bensdale, 515-27135. Give them a call, talk to one of their doctors, and they will be able to help you. Now, join me to welcome Mr. Charles Oguntade to the show today. Hello, Charles. Can you hear me, Charles? Okay, you're on mute. Can you unmute? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Welcome to Vicky's show, Becoming Unstoppable.
Good. Yeah, good morning. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happily excited to be with you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Charles, before we even delve into today's topic, I would like you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Tell them about you. Who is Charles Oguntade? And then we'll move on to what made you to be an authority in this topic that we're talking about today. Who is Charles Oguntade?
Okay.
So tell us about you, Charles.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Vicky. I'm so excited to be on the program today. My name is Charles Oguntade, and I live in Shepparton, Victoria. I'm married. I've got 2 lovely kids and a lovely wife. I'm a mental health practitioner. I'm a credentialed mental health nurse. And I'm also a forensic clinical specialist. My background is in mental health nursing practice, and I've been doing this for 22 years now. I've worked in different capacity, both here in Australia and back overseas, and I've worked in different section. I majorly practice in adult and youth mental health, and my current role in the public mental health service is as a forensic clinical specialist. I provide forensic clinical support for area mental health and correction department, the police, the court, and the mental health community service unit. And in my personal life, I'm involved in a lot of things. I've got a side business. Everybody always have one side hustle or something like that. So I've got a side business called Lolo Way Consult, and I dealt primarily in mental health first aid. I do provide mental health first aid, which is a practical way of teaching people that are not necessarily in a mental health field or doesn't have a stronger knowledge, or just to give them a basic information on how to support and assist someone that is having a mental health challenge. You don't have to be a skillful person. It's just like providing a first aid for individual until professional helps arrive. So I do that. I provide a mental health for first aid for the community and for different organizations. I do organize a separate one, a personal one, and all that. And then in addition to that, I do a lot of community volunteering thing. I don't know where I got the energy or the time from, but I always create it anyway. So I'm involved in a lot of community volunteer job. I'm a youth mentor, a community advocate. I sit on a different board and a committee within the community, and then I do function in different capacity, even with the international organization as well. And and that is a Charles in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. That's huge. That is so huge. Thank you so much for joining me and bringing a wealth of experience to the show today. And as you know, what we will be discussing about is all about how, what it's involved in becoming unstoppable. The first line is for you to be healthy mentally, isn't it? So that is what we will be talking about. You've already given us your credentials. What made you to be qualified to be able to talk about this today? And I want to thank you for that. We have a few people watching and they've been commenting. So that's great. Tell us, with 22 years of experience in this field, you're much better qualified than most. So I'm happy that I'm talking to
So
you
the
about this.
line, the line is breaking.
Oh,
Hello, Vicky. The line is breaking. That line is breaking from my side. I can
from your
hardly
side, yeah.
hear you. It's
Oh,
just breaking through all the way.
oh, okay. Can you hear me now,
Yes,
Charles? You can hear me. All right. Can
yes,
you adjust
yes,
your
yes.
head?
I can hear you.
Can you adjust your headpiece? Sometimes it's that, and check where it enters the computer. Sometimes it might not be inside properly. So if it's not inside properly, it will be
Okay,
breaking.
okay. I've just tried to adjust that now. Let's try it
Okay.
again.
All right. Hello, Charles. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yes, I can
All
hear
right.
you.
Okay. So today, we really don't have much time because you have to get back to doing the business of helping other people. So, um,
Yeah.
okay, somebody wants us to flash the topic of discussion. I'll do that shortly. Today, we will be talking about um, becoming unstoppable and how it starts from having healthy mental health. So tell us, how does that come into play? Healthy mental health. What does that mean? And what do we need to do to make sure we are healthy mentally? Charles, did you get
Okay.
that question?
If I'm hoping that yeah, so that line is still breaking, but I'm hoping that I'm able to get that question properly. So I'm just gonna fly with it and see how we go. So look, in my view and in a general opinion, there is this a common saying that says mental health is a total health. Like when you are mentally healthy, then you've got a sort of a good health, and it's not possible. Although it's not possible for someone to say that he's got is 100% mentally healthy, because mental health itself is a continuum. You can be okay to in the morning, and by evening something might happen that will have an effect on your well-being, and that could impact you in one way or the other. But that doesn't really say that you've got mental illness. That could be something that just momentarily affects you as a person, and then you're able to cope with it, and then you move on. And unfortunately, mental illness, which is on the other part of the spectrum, is something that's got no respect of anyone. You could be a affluent person, you could be very rich, you could be very poor, you could be upstanding. It doesn't matter. Anyone can end up with a mental illness. Yeah, he doesn't have any respect for any individual. Mental illness is an equal opportunity illness. It could happen to anyone. And one thing that is always important is we shouldn't see it as a death sentence. It is something that could happen to anyone at any time, and then with proper support, proper treatment, you can get out of it. But how do you now maintain a mental health and well-being? How can you maintain it? Look, we'll say somebody is stable mental health wise if they are able to maintain a stable psychosocial well-being, being in a stable relationship. And I'm saying a relationship in a broad term now, not necessarily having a partner or anything like that. Forming relationship, a social relationship with a lot of people, engaging with the community, engaging with friends and known acquaintances, or being able to hold a job, or being able to hold even engage in something that keeps you busy, that gives you joy, that gives you some satisfaction, and being able to live independently, able to manage reasonably, manage well, manage your own emotion, manage your own personal well-being. Then you can say, okay, well, this individual is able to maintain a good mental health. And how do we attain this? So what can we do to attain this? Always promote a lot of things. We are a very busy animal. It's always good to take time to rest. Rest is very important. When always find time to pause and evaluate and kick back. One thing from I'm a African background, as you can see. And one thing that is very common to us is that we work really hard, and we don't valued holiday that so much. I was in a senior management meeting in my workplace a week ago, and usually once every month we sit down and take stock in about how the organization, how our department is striving. And some of the things that we look into is that what are the vacancies available, how many leave loading as people got, who is not taking proper leave, who needs to be advised to go and leave. And I look at that list. Normally, you get flagged when your leave loading goes beyond 250 hours. And on that
Mm,
list for last week, we had 10 people that have got excessive leave loadings that we need to advise that they need to take leave. And out of that 10, 7 of them are from Africa. From people that I know very well, and few people are glaring at me across the table, and I have to put up a poker face. What is going on? But in my own private time, I have to go and speak with these individuals, call them and say, that, look, hey, please, you need to do something here. Even if COVID hasn't given you opportunity to travel anywhere, I will suggest that take time off. Even if it's just a week, just rest and kick
mm,
back and see how you can maintain your time. And that's just taking time to rest. We as individual, we like a mirror. Sometimes when things are going wrong, we might not really know ourselves, but people around you will know, and they'll call your attention to it that you need to. We've just noticed there's something that is not right here, and
mhm,
don't take it as a criticism. Take it on board and try to evaluate it yourself. There is no, and unfortunately, there is a lot of stigma that is attached to mental illness. When people are suffering, they struggle to even seek help. If you know that something is wrong and you need to talk to somebody, there is a help out there. You meet with your GP, talk to a closer confidant, seek advice on what do you need to do, how do you need to go about this, and then you get the appropriate help. If you need counseling, that could be organized, and that could be managed within to even suit your livelihood, your daily, and take a time out of your busy schedule to interact with people. Go
mhm,
out of your comfort zone.
mhm,
Have engage in social. Everything shouldn't be like work home and take time, make the family out, have a family day out, and take a fresh air, go for a walk, and absorb what is out there. And it is a very good way of maintaining one's sanity. So all these little things that you can put into play goes a very long way in
mhm.
helping us to reshape and maintain our mental health and well-being.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much, Charles, for that. Now, my next question to you is that when we talk about mental health, it's quite broad, right? Uh, but there's something that I've been meaning to actually have chats with other mental health professionals about the way people deal or talk or express mental illness in different areas of the world. We are both from Nigeria, and we know that
Yeah.
uh, there's this thing about mental illness or saying that you have mental health issues. Stigma, exactly. I'm looking for that word, stigma. Uh, there is stigma, and people don't want to admit, they don't want to talk about it. Here in Australia, where we both live, people talk about it freely. I'm going to see my counselor. Oh, I'm seeing a shrink. I need my happy pill. They've got words that they use to express that they have mental health issues. Now, right now, we have people from different parts of the world watching us and listening to this topic that we're talking about today. And there has been some comments here from different people. Robert is from Canada and is talking about him having mental illness, which is generational. It's in the family. Tabitha Abiona, who resides in Nigeria, she's talking about mental illness is not a respecter of anyone. And Omobolanle Omoga also commented, don't be scared to talk. Now, we're talking about different people from different parts of the world listening to what we're talking about. Where should people start from, and what should people watch out for? I know we are limited when it comes to time today, and I still need to bring you back onto the show another day, another time to talk in depth about this. But where do you think people need to start from? What do you think people need to
Okay.
watch out for, and what do they need to do?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. You see, like it's quite unfortunate. Like cultural stigma is very strive when you're talking about mental health, and every culture has a different way of looking at mental health. And for many, especially in Africa, there is people from not even only Africa, people from multicultural background. There is a growing stigma around mental health and the challenges that goes with it. In most part of the world, most especially even in Africa, in Nigeria, where I come from, they see mental illness as a sign of weakness. They attach it to witchcraft. They attach it to bad fate. Some might even call it a karma. Maybe there is a great grandparent that have done evil to someone, and then somebody has cast a spell on them. A lot of things that happen, and this really make it harder for those struggling with mental health issue to talk openly about it or ask for help. And even when you look at the aspect of understanding the symptoms, cultural aspect still plays a huge role about this. Sometimes when you go deeper into the cultural aspect, we lack the language to even express what is really going on. And sometimes even when we have that language out of the shame, the stigma that is attached to it, we even fail to describe it the way it is. You will find, in my experience over the years, I've seen people from a culturally diverse background, they come to you, they describe even mental health challenge as a physical illness. Like everything they are explaining to you is all around the physical symptoms. And only when you have a knowledge of this, and you've had some idea about this, you're able to tease out the words and keep asking and digging until you get the information that you require. And then you look at the common support, like for somebody to strive to be able to, we just talked about how people can feedback to you. But even when there is no community support, there is the view of the community about mental illness is very negative. For them to feedback to you becomes even a challenge on itself. And then look at the resources. How many resources do we have in place, and how well informed are even people, the practitioner in that space? How well informed are they to actually understand, get the right resources to be able to deal with the issue of mental health as it relates with cultural difference? And we can in a place like Australia, you cannot rule that out. Australia is a multicultural community. There are people from a different, diverse background with a different experience, culture, beliefs, and norms that they bring with them, which could have an impact, whether negatively or positively, on how they seek help, how they access services, how they seek support. This could have an impact. So I, even as a practitioner in the field, these are things that we really needed to take on board. What is our level of cultural awareness? How do we know where to access resources on how to be of help to this person? Do we feel comfortable, or we are too proud to even ask the question when we don't know? Do we feel comfortable in telling someone in front of us to say, can you break it down for me? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand it. Or we can seek help I can seek help from people that are knowledgeable in that area of culture outside my own practice, to say, look, I've had I had this experience. Can you tell me, how do I deal with it? So those are the things that could have impact negatively on the part of the client that is seeking support, and even the practitioner that is trying to provide support for this client.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you for that. Now, we all know that all around the world, we are all in a with what we are facing with COVID. It's been more than 12 months now that we've been battling with this, and we don't know the end date. We don't know when all this is going to stop and we can get back to the business of living. And so many people have been impacted by it. So many people, they've lost loved ones along the way. So many people, they've lost businesses along the way. So many people, they've lost their relationship along the way. And so many people, they've lost their jobs along the way. So what would be your advice as a mental health practitioner, as for whoever is out there right now watching us, or maybe watching this later on, and they are struggling based on the impact of COVID on them? What would be your advice to them? They're struggling mentally. It's affecting them. It's impacting them. And yes, it may be difficult for them to put their hands on it, that this is the reason why all this has happened to me. But what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's quite unfortunate, like the world experienced this pandemic, and it's got a very huge impact on the way of living all over the world, even though it might affect one part of the world more than other. But when you look at the whole thing that goes along with the COVID-19 pandemic, is so unfortunate. Like you've rightly said, a lot of people have lost their means of livelihood. They've lost their family relationship. People have to hunker down for months and weeks. The restriction has really have a significant impact on all individuals from all ages. And then even the death toll that comes with the COVID is going to have a long-lasting impact on the world population at large, because even if when you hear the news of the people that died in their thousands, people that have lost their loved ones and all that, the impact of it on individual business, on the relationship, the statistics even show there is even an increase in family violence, in abuse, because there are some of the people that uses their escape route from family violence is outside their normal home, and then they have to hunker down in the house due to the restriction. Then the violence increase essentially. So these are things that will not necessarily have immediate impact now, but it's going to manifest because like during the whole crisis, everybody is in survival mode. People are not really looking at the after effect. The after effect will start coming out now that the restriction is going down. That is even when we really need to pay more attention. We really need to focus more on the impact of this on our mental health and well-being. And early intervention is the key. We shouldn't wait until when things get out of hand. It is important to speak out, to start looking into our social connection. So now that the restriction is easing out, we need to start encouraging people to embrace a social connection, to ask for help and maintain a positive attitude, to embrace the early intervention if they notice that there's been a change in their own well-being. It's important to pay attention to this and seek help at the early appropriate time. Don't wait until things get out of hand before you start. And if we notice it, if you notice it in your loved one, in a friend, in non-acquaintance, and you notice any change that is different from what you normally see as a baseline for this individual, so it's important for us to nudge them and say, hey, I've noticed this. Do you think that you needed to seek help? So those are the ways that we could be a positive impact. We could support people that might end up suffering from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow. Charles Oguntade, honestly, you've brought a lot onto the table today, and I think we need to tease this out some more. 30 minutes is not enough.
Thank you.
So if that is okay with you, I'd like to bring you for part 2 of this show, this particular topic. If that's okay, the same time next week, we'll do another 30 minutes, and then we just tease it out.
That would be my pleasure.
We do this as far
it would be my
for as many weeks as we can.
I know we can never have enough of it.
Honestly,
I would
because
be glad to be there. We can never have enough of it.
At the end of the day, and this is something that I would like to leave with you, Charles, that I would like you to ponder more on and put something together for us for next week. Our mental health is number one. Without a fantastic, healthy mental health, there's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can do. There have been people on wheelchairs. There have been people that have no legs, no arms, but with healthy mental health, they are able to achieve what others cannot achieve. Those with, 2 hands, 4 legs, whatever legs, because they have healthy mental health. That is why I thought I need to bring you on to talk about this. And we will be teasing this out much more by next week, the same time, 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. on Wednesday. That's when we'll come back again and we will do more on mental health, the role that it plays on us becoming unstoppable. I want to say a very big thank you to you. It will be my
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All our viewers, Robert, Omoga, Tabita Biona, Olunero Fajuke, Christina Dikpoju, and so many more. We want to appreciate you for joining us. Thank you, and I'll see you again, same time, next Wednesday, Charles. You have a lovely, lovely week. We'll catch up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You too.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So it's been a wonderful time with Charles Oguntade today. And we've been busy talking about becoming unstoppable with having healthy mental health. How can you become unstoppable if your mental health is compromised? It's like having a computer who has virus in it, and you expect that computer to work. at its that to work perfectly well. It doesn't happen. You need to take that computer or laptop to be fixed, to be for the virus to be removed, for everything to be cleared, and then you can start all over again. A professional will need to look into it. Oh, you've got so many viruses here. We need to remove everything because the virus will attach to every good files that you have in there, and it's going to mess it up. So you don't want that to happen. A professional will need to clear everything in there and format your space, and then you can start all over again. That's the way it works. And it's the same thing with us. With a healthy mental health, we can achieve far, far more than we ever expect. That is why I brought Mr. Charles Oguntade to talk to us today, because he's quite experienced in the field with 22 years of experience. And next week again, next Wednesday, he will be coming back onto the show, video show, to talk more about it, especially now with so many people struggling with grieving for their loved one that departed, um, grieving for lost relationships, grieving for lost businesses, grieving for lost job and lost of income, grieving for so many things, even inability to travel. For me, one of the things that I enjoy the most, there are a few things that I enjoy in life. I enjoy going out, and having beautiful, wonderful meals and lovely, nice restaurants. I enjoy traveling in a plane. I don't like driving much. Just being inside a plane and flying to wherever I needed to fly to, seeing new places, doing new things, just doing things that I enjoy. But with COVID that came, over 12 months now, it's been 14 months actually, that we've been battling with COVID, and the restrictions and all that stopped everything. We all had to stop stop everything we were doing, especially here in Victoria, lockdown for months and months and months. All those things that I enjoy the most, I've not been able to enjoy them. I've not been able to do them, except now that we are free to walk around, we're able to go and have meals, but still not able to fly. Now, for someone like me, and there are many people like me who are struggling with the fact that they cannot travel, that they cannot go on holidays, even that alone is causing some people grief. They are mourning. To some other people in some other part of the world, it's not a big deal. But to those people, it is a big deal for me. Now, to Charles that will be coming back to speak with us next week. Those are the things that we'll be teasing out. What else can we do? How can we make sure we are looking after our mental health on a day-to-day basis? What do we need to do? So Charles will be coming back on and we'll be talking to us about this. So it's just been a fantastic time talking to Charles. Now, um, let's see who would like to join me in here, or you've got a question, please just ask me. All right, don't be shy. Let's talk. It's we're all learning from one another. So if there's anything you like to say, or question that you like to ask, a question that you like Charles to ask, that you like to ask Charles next week, you can put it out here and Charles will prepare and bring some answers for you. So Robert Brooker, who is a number one fan, um, uh, he said, I was unpleasantly surprised that one of my closest friends thought I was faking my anxiety attacks. Wow. One of his friends thought he was faking the anxiety attacks. And that is it. That's one of the reasons why people don't like talking about their mental health issues, because some people will not take it seriously. Some people will look down at you. Some people will make you feel like, as if you're not strong enough. Some people will there's always that stigma about it. And I tend to relate. And when I speak to my clients, I tend to talk in this way, that mental health issues needs to be taken seriously. It needs to be looked into and it needs to be dealt with. Reason why: if you have, let's say, diabetes, you've been diagnosed with diabetes, or you've been diagnosed with thyroid issues. So you have low thyroid, or you have hyperthyroidism, you've been diagnosed with it because you feel weak, you feel tired, you feel lethargic. And a blood test, they do blood tests for you and they find out that, oh, your thyroid is too hyperactive. Because it's too hyperactive, everything everything in you is just boom, boom, boom. Now you're having palpitations, you're having this. So they've done the blood test and they find out that, oh, your thyroid is overactive. They will place you on medication. And it's not like medication that you use for 2 days and that's it. This is a medication that you use for the rest of your life. Because you don't want to feel lethargic, you don't want to feel low, you don't want to feel down, you don't want you don't want to be having all these, feelings that, and they said to you, it's because your thyroid is hyperactive. Now, this is the medication that will help you. You will use that medication and you will use it for the rest of your life because you don't like how you were feeling without the medication. It's the same thing. Mental health is the same thing. If you're diagnosed with anxiety, what do? Your doctor prescribe medication for you or refer you on to go and see a specialist or a counselor or a psychotherapist like Charles, like myself. What do? You go and do that. Because if you don't, you find yourself in a place you don't want to be. So it is very important that we take it seriously. And if somebody is saying to you that I do feel this, I do feel down, I do feel, I don't feel happy, take them seriously, offer them help, support them, take them to go and meet a counselor, a psychotherapist, a psychologist. Offer them support. That's all you can do. It's not so, it's not a bad thing. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about the most important part of us because that can make us and that can break us. And the earlier we address it, the easier it gets. So we will be back again, myself and Charles Oguntade, and we will be talking about this topic. We will be fleshing it out some more, and we will be, hopefully, Charles will be able to give more insight into mental health and becoming unstoppable. Now, let's see if there are questions. Greetings, Charles Oguntade. Nice to meet you. Um, now, Jennifer Woodward commented. Thank you, Jennifer, for your comment. Jennifer Woodward said, they feel you do not have faith enough. Yes, I've heard it in Christian circle. When you do struggle with mental health, some will say, oh, you haven't prayed enough. Oh, your sin is so huge, God isn't happy with you. Oh, it's karma doing its trick on you. Oh, you haven't prayed enough. You don't have faith enough. You don't. And some even discourage people from using medication or looking for treatment or seeking treatment. It's not right. God has given doctors, specialists, psychiatrists, mental health practitioners, social workers, mental health social workers, psychologists, psychotherapists. God has given them the skill to be able to listen and listen under the line to work out what is really going on. Because sometimes you might not even know What is going on with you? You might not even be able to place it into words. And Charles described that earlier on when he came on. So it is very important that you listen to them. These people that call themselves leaders in churches, and there are great ones and there are not so great ones that they don't even know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing, and instead of them to you know help and encourage their members to seek help, they tend to discourage them, teach them or tell them to have faith, to have faith. Yes, having faith is good, having faith is fantastic, but you don't suspend your praying. That's my point into that, uh Jennifer. Now, Robert also commented, those times you demonstrate absolute faith, then they think you are not. So how do you win? That's Robert Brooker saying that. How about we come together again next week, same time, to talk about this important topic? All right. So I want to appreciate you all for watching this show, for listening, and for commenting. We really do appreciate. I appreciate you, and I believe Charles do appreciate you. So until next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Check that time out with yours, and let us meet this here again and talk about this important topic. Until then, you